Cast vinyl versus digital vinyl. Which one is better? That's the topic in the Sign Shop today. Hi everybody, Dan the Sign Man here once again with Coker Signs and Graphics. Cast vinyl versus digital vinyl. Which one is better? Well, that's a question I get quite often in the field, and honestly, it's kind of a trick question because cast vinyl, like you see here, is actually a material, whereas digital printing is a complete process. So you're kind of comparing apples and oranges. But that's a great question for Dan the Sign Man, one we're going to tackle in the Sign Shop today. But first, why don't we take a little history lesson, shall we? Back in the day, most small sign makers were hand letter artists, so many signs were hand lettered. Later on, in the 80s, some Poindexter, or group of Poindexters, figured out how to combine AutoCAD technology with adhesive vinyl to make signs out of cast vinyl lettering. That was state-of-the-art for many years. More recently, digital printing has become all the rage. You see it all the time, from billboards to vehicle wraps. But what is the difference between the two materials? Here's one way to look at it. Think of cast vinyl like you think of construction paper. It's one solid color through and through. The color is actually chemically a part of the material itself. Digital printing, on the other hand, is more like your desktop inkjet printer, only on a larger scale. It starts out with a printable media like cast vinyl and creates an image by transferring different color inks onto that media. But back to our question, which one is better? Well, it all depends on your application. When it comes to longevity, cast vinyl usually lasts around 8 to 10 years outside. Digitally printed material has a shorter lifespan, around 3 to 5 years before it starts to fade. But digital printing is often the only way to accomplish some of the more ambitious applications like vehicle wraps. Here's a great example of a company that was using a digitally printed product for their graphics, but they got frustrated because they would fade out every 4 or 5 years and had to be replaced. So we got them back into a cast vinyl, did a little creative layering. We were able to reproduce their logo just fine. That gave them 8 or 9 years longevity instead of 4 or 5, and it cut the price pretty much in half. Now, all of that might make it sound as if I'm not a fan of digital printing, and I assure you nothing could be further from the truth. Digital printing is one of the best things to happen to the sign industry in a long, long time. The color and variety and flexibility just can't be matched. But our point here is that cast vinyl is far from obsolete. Now here's the upshot of all of this. Cast vinyl and digital vinyl are each great for what they're designed for. But the thing to keep in mind is, when choosing a sign maker, be sure to choose someone who will make the choice between cast vinyl or digital printing based on your needs as a customer and not their profit margin. I'm Dan the Sign Man.